right, so we've been through creating your roadmap, defining your relationship hierarchy, assessing the quality of a request, and now step 4, prioritize and reprioritize. So when requests for your time come to you, what you want to ask yourself is, where does it fit on my priority list? And watch your language, okay, when people approach you and ask for your time and energy, because when you say, I don't have time, what that means is it's not a priority. And that's okay. It's okay to tell people, I don't have time. No is a full sentence, but you want to always watch what kind of requests you're saying yes and no to, right? The quality, who those requests are from, and whether they align with your roadmap. So step 4 really comes into play by helping you set your priorities and be clear on what they are. We don't manage priorities, just like we don't really manage time, right? We don't have 5 minutes and then suddenly it turn into 6 minutes. So priorities are going to be there, and they're relatively fixed. Like, you kind of know the things you're valuing and working on and doing in your life. The thing is, we ultimately find time for what's important to us. Remember that? So if you want to evaluate your priorities and make sure they're in a clear order, here are some tips from, again, Don Corey's book, When to Say Yes and How to Look at This. So one is size, right? Different priorities have different sizes of time and energy that they're going to take. So that's where time comes in. Urgency. Some priorities are more urgent than others. For example, today, okay, as you may hear my voice, I'm getting over a cold, and my husband had an emergent root canal. He's doing fine, but it kind of threw everything off, right? So no matter what I had laid out for today, that was the priority. Making sure my husband was getting treated, making sure he was feeling good, getting him his meds, etc. Okay, prior commitments. You know, when something new comes on your plate, you have to think about, well, what am I already involved in, right? What do I have to shove off my plate to take on this new thing? Audit and regulatory requests. I mean, this is a very serious sounding word because this is generally a business practice this book was written for, but this could be, you know, something like, hey, if you are working in a business and the IRS needs to check something out, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Or if you work in an industry and, you know, you have to stop and do an inspection or a check, that kind of thing. Again, these are generally tied to business of a corporate kind, not necessarily trading, but you can allow them back. Okay, client requests and customer satisfaction. So in your trading, you're the client, you're the customer, right? There's not really anyone else you have to answer to, but perhaps in your life and business, these requests come your way. Then there's what's called production outages or risks to business. So in your trading, this would definitely be something like, if your internet went out, you need to get that addressed, right? You most likely cannot trade if your internet's not working, or if your computer crashes, or if there's anything going on that isn't allowing you to follow through with your system. All right, so these are the tips that Don Corey gives, and then he ultimately refers to the Eisenhower matrix. So Mr. Corey did not invent it, but he did talk about it in the book, and I'm working on implementing this in my life. This prioritization section has actually been the most challenging of the steps for me, but I'm slowly but surely getting there. So prioritization matrix, or Eisenhower matrix, what do we put on here? So here's where I'll bring you my little pointer finger. Okay, so important and urgent. These are things you need to do first, and they're generally not kind of your routine tasks. They're usually tied to a project or something you've prioritized in your life. Not urgent, but important. Those are things like going to the gym, or doing a task to maintain your finances or your trading. So you can plan for those. Okay, that's the key there, is you want to plan for those items. Urgent but not important, those you can find time later to schedule them, or you can delegate. And then there's a category of not urgent, not important. For those, that bottom right quadrant, you start to ask yourself, do I even need to do these things? So this is something I've slowly been bringing in. This is actually, like I said, been the most challenging of the 4 steps for me to deploy, but slowly but surely I am working on it. Another book that Mr. Corey references, as I bring us back here, is Getting Things Done. So that's a book that gets deeper into prioritizing and how to deploy it usefully in your life. And I'm actually reading that book as well. So hopefully that helps you understand about priorities more. And again, if you want to really deploy the whole 5 steps of when to say yes, you can dig into Mr. Corey's book. Catch you next time.